Brought to you by
Envy, the power of French perfume.
Nice perfume. Nice perfume.
Envy, the power of French perfume.
There is one thing that unites this wonderful country called India. It is the wonderful game of cricket because it cuts across all barriers, geographical and more, which is why we have a very special guest joining us today. Please once again give a big round of applause to former India international, commentator, mentor, coach, much more, DINESH KARTHIK. Thank you very much, Dinesh, for joining us. I want to start, Dinesh, by talking about what's about to happen because we are getting back into India-Pakistan cricket with the Asia Cup. And every time India-Pakistan cricket comes around, there's again a huge buzz around it, excitement around it. Do you believe that we go into this Asia Cup, Dinesh, and I'm asking you to put your newfound Pandit hat, that India is firm favourites this time to defeat Pakistan in the Asia Cup and win the tournament?
First of all, good evening. It's quite nice to be here. I feel after a heavy dose of meals, which is politics, that a lot of what this day has been about, I feel I'm like the dessert at the end of the day in that meals package. Very sweet, very easy to eat, and just not too hard to consume. I watched a bit of the conclave when I was sitting in the airport lounge, and I saw there was some heavy topics as much.
You're the payasam after all the dosas and everything has gone out, the meal moili and all the various curries. You're the payasam for the day.
I can get consumed in small portions, I feel. So cricket is a bit like that. But the fact is that the way India has played in the last almost 10 years, a decade after the IPL has started, because I think that's where Indian cricket started getting to that strong place in international cricket, where we are consistent in reaching semi-finals and finals of various World Cups. So going into this Asia Cup, I have no doubt that India is the team to beat. India is the strongest team, and it is obviously our expectation that they should win, and it's almost the expectation every time they step onto the field. But definitely this Asia Cup, we do start as the most complete team, if I can say so.
Is that what has happened? That India is now a very formidable white ball team? Because we play a lot of T20 cricket, we play 50 overs, but T20 in particular, would you say this is the best prepared or the best, if I may be allowed to use the word, T20 outfit that you have seen ever since India has been playing the shortest format of the game? It covers all bases.
They picked a squad which is very suited to what they want to be doing, which is, I have a strong feeling they'll play only one fast bowler and Hardik Pandya. So my point here is...
No Bumrah?
The one fast bowler is Bumrah. The one fast bowler is Bumrah and Hardik, and they'll play a lot more spinners. Varun, Kuldeep, Akshar Patel. So that's the kind... And they have a lot of variety in spinners. So that is what they'll be looking to do. So my point being, we've only picked 3 fast bowlers. It's not too often that you walk into a tournament, a World Cup, with just 3 fast bowlers. So if you see all round, it's the strong squad that suits their sensibilities and their mindset. But is it the strongest team India have had? It's very hard to compare because across time, India have had put together some really good squads. So it's as good as any team that's ever played this format. For me, the most fun part about watching this current Indian team play is the brand of cricket that they play. They're very aggressive. They go from ball one, and they almost epitomize what new age batting is. And they seem to do it even under pressure, which is very important.
What is new age batting? You said new age batting. Is it that you go fearlessly from ball one, attack without worrying whether you'll get out or not? Is that the big difference between when you started playing T20 to where you are today?
Oh, without a doubt, the amount of shots that young batters have is a lot more because the game has evolved a lot. This format, the T20 format, has evolved the quickest because of IPL, because analytics came in. There were a lot of people that were under the microscope, and every year they had to get better. They had to do something better to do better than what they did the last year. So it almost pushed you consistently. You can almost compare it to football or American football, those kind of sport, because you're constantly judged and watched and observed, and you need to do something better. So the shot making has increased tremendously. The kind of shots these young batters play these days are extremely exciting to watch. And when you say fearless, absolutely. I always think fearless is a very easily thrown about word. I mean, sometimes you can be reckless. I feel you need to have responsibility as well. And that mix is quite good in this team. There are players who bat fearlessly, but there are also players who understand how to play the situation and they adapt. And hence, it is a very powerful team because we've got a good mix of players who can definitely attack from ball one, irrespective of what the score is. We could be 10 for 3, and you'll see people coming in and playing some outlandish shots. But there are also players who are able to absorb pressure for small periods of time before they throw it back to the opponent.
Is there anyone who stands out? Anyone, when you see anyone in this Indian team, when you see him from the outside and say, wow, this guy has something special. Is there an X-factor player you see?
For sure, with the attribute that he brings up top, Abhishek Sharma is extremely interesting in terms of how hard it is to bowl to him. He's a tall guy, he's got flat-batted swing, and he can hit good balls for boundaries, so he makes it very interesting. I think Surya Kumar changed the name of the game, the way his weave, I'm sure you've spent a lot of time with your dad and they've told you what scoring in the weave would mean, which is down the ground, mid-on, mid-off, a lot more. Now Surya Kumar's V is behind. It goes between third man and fine leg, and he is so consistent doing it. He gets into such good positions to scoop a ball, and he is so hard to bowl too. On top of that, he plays high-risk shots, but still is very consistent at doing that. So these two players straight away come to the top of my mind. Then you see the likes of Rinku Singh. Hardik Pandya is someone who's evolved over time as a player. So there's some very interesting talents. But if you just say pure shot making, Surya Kumar Yadav has changed how T20 cricket is played.
You played a bit like that, reverse sweeps. How, when I look at this from the outside as someone who was taught cricket in the old-fashioned way, is it practice that makes you play these audacious shots, or is it just the way the game has evolved?
It's definitely...
Do you practice playing that kind of scoop and a reverse sweep in the nets, even though it could conceivably hit you in the face?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Like anything else in life, you keep practicing it and that's how you get better. And it's the same with these innovative shots.
And in a way, therefore, I must ask you, and I'm not now speaking as a Mumbaikar, as I'm often accused of when I talk cricket, why is Shreyas Iyer not in this team? It's the one selection crib I have. Here is someone who's done outstandingly in the last 8 months. He's not in the Indian team. Should he not have been in this squad?
Look, Shreyas Iyer has done everything and more a player can do. Let's park that aside. But if you see the last 20 matches that India have played since Gautam Gambhir has taken over, 17 they have won. So as a coach, I'm assuming that he has certain players he's looking at who have delivered results for him. So if he has to make the hard choice of leaving certain players out, I can understand. If you talk about the ODI team, then we can always say because the results probably haven't matched how well they've done. Even though they won Champions Trophy now, it's different. But I'm just saying, if you speak about the ODI team or even the Test team to a certain extent, if certain players who have done so well in domestic miss out, then it makes for a case for conversation. But in T20, because they've done so well, I think it's very hard to question why a certain player shouldn't have been there. But in saying that, I must say that Shreyas Iyer has been probably one of that players who have gone back to domestic cricket, did whatever possible, which is to help Mumbai win titles, came back for IPL. As a captain, he did phenomenally well and even better as a batter. And I don't see anybody stopping him. It's only a matter of time because with those performances, it's hard to not have someone like that in the squad. And I'm a big fan of Shreyas Iyer because of the way he plays and the way he carries himself off the field with so much positive energy and the way he's led his team. I believe that he would have taken it in his stride, even though it would have been a bitter pill to swallow. I genuinely wish that he finds a place across formats, not just T20, very soon.
So can I headline it and say Dinesh Karthik would like to see Shreyas Iyer in the World T20 team? India's World T20 team?
If that is what you've got after me saying all this, I think that will be a pretty unfair headline because after the squad is put, they also put 5 other standbys. Now, in that 5 standbys, also Shreyas Iyer wasn't there. And that didn't sit well with me, which basically means they're not looking at him for the near future. And that would mean to the World Cup because India finished the Asia Cup. They have a couple of bilaterals and after which they have the World Cup, which I feel is very unfair. And I think there is no way that he shouldn't have missed those 5 players. He should have been part of the conversations in the lead up to the T20 World Cup. And I really wish he makes it to that T20 World Cup because he deserves it.
Okay, that's good enough for me. I'm going to be over this 45 minutes putting out old archival footage, which in some way or the other is linked to my special guest, Dinesh Karthik. And I'm going to start, Dinesh, with a moment which I think changed Indian cricket forever. And it is India versus Pakistan. And since a lot of talk is about India versus Pakistan in the Asia Cup, let's turn the clock back first with my first image, 2007 T20 World Cup. Take a look.
Jeff Lawson can't believe it. But what a match for a 2020 final. India, the world champions.
Okay, that's the first picture we have. That is 2007 India lifting the 2007 World Cup. You were part of that squad. You're somewhere there running onto the ground at that moment. Was that the moment where Indian cricket changed forever? Because the next year the IPL took place and suddenly this country had a new form of entertainment, T20 cricket, new stars emerged. How do you look back at that moment?
I think it was one of the biggest moments in Indian cricket. That World Cup, you got to understand, in the prelude to that World Cup, this happened in September, October. In 2007, I think it was March, April, India went to another World Cup, the 50-over World Cup in Caribbean, and it was an abysmal failure. So Indian cricket was on its knees. Indian cricket was on its knees. So after that, when this T20 format was brought into international cricket, India didn't play too many matches before this World Cup. And this World Cup was a team which had a lot of youngsters, some players making comebacks. And the senior pros had actually sat out from this tournament, the likes of Tendulkar, Dravid, Anil Kumble and all of them, who were playing test cricket at that stage. So it was a young bunch of boys. Now that tournament had everything in it to say that there was something special happening. Number one, the first match India played was a washout. But the second match that India played, Pakistan, was a tie. And the first bowl out happened. There was something interesting happening across those 3 weeks. And I must say that in that final in Joburg, all of India had actually come to watch that match. There were at least about 40,000 people or 30,000, whatever the capacity was. But the number of people that were there in the hotel and so many dignitaries across various forums and platforms, and all of them were clued in because there was this young bunch of boys led by a maverick personality called MS Dhoni, and things just looked so different because Yuvraj Singh was in his peak form, Virendra Sehwag was making his comeback, Gautam Gambhir actually made his comeback, and the personalities who were doing well in that tournament actually were personalities that helped glue Indian cricket at that stage, because we were kind of not sure where Indian cricket was after that 50-over failure. But this T20 World Cup almost brought India back on the map. You got to understand, Australia was a very strong team at that stage. Beating them in the semi-final was a very important, pivotal moment for India to get past that stage in Durban. And we went on to do that. And that World Cup also started things. Lalit Modi was there, and he, I think, started this advent of trying to understand how to bring about IPL. It was done, and then I think Indian cricket didn't look back after that.
But what did it take to beat Pakistan? You know, I've often wondered, is beating Pakistan also about pressure? Because this was not a bad Pakistan team, unlike the team today, which is a relatively weakened side. Is beating Pakistan at the end of the day about handling pressure?
It used to be the case, because skill-wise, probably we're slightly ahead, but Pakistan always used to compete and be there and thereabouts. And I remember even in the 2022 World Cup, the final, it's not the final, India was Pakistan in Melbourne. That was quite a match as well, where they went ahead, but India being India came back and then went on to win the game. But the fact is that India is a much more skilled unit right now. I think we are very, very you know, we are a very strong place in the world of cricket right now because of the number of players that we have. Like, we could have 2 international teams right now and they'll still compete against most cricketing nations. So I must say that India at this point of time is a far superior side in terms of skill, in terms of handling pressure. Now, in life, I think you learn a lot as you keep handling those big moments. And I think the Indian cricketers, having played the IPL, learn how to deal with those big moments a lot more consistently as well. And for them to reach the Indian team is probably so hard that they value being there. And that is a big challenge right now. There's also the other side where there are a lot of players who are happy just playing the IPL. We'll get to that probably at a different time. But the fact is that if you want to be part of the current Indian T20 setup, you have to be very good.
You mentioned, of course, that you've been watching all the politics that's been going on at the India Today South Conclave, all the discussions. Let me throw a bit of a political googly at you. There will be people in this audience, I know friends of mine who are saying they won't watch India versus Pakistan because they are still angry with what happened in Pahalgam and believe that the cricketers should not be playing Pakistan. Do you feel that players get affected by voices like that? Does the surround sound make an impact? Would you support those who say, we don't want to watch India playing Pakistan because of what happened in Pahalgam?
So all I can say is, from an Indian cricketer point of view, they would be of the mindset is, our job is to go and play the sport, we will do it. Now, as a fan, if you choose to watch the match, good. If you don't choose to watch the match because of whatever has happened politically, I completely understand. I don't think anybody can hold anything against people who don't want to see, because it's a decision that they take on their own because of their patriotism of their country and whatever has happened. So all I can say is, being part of the system, if you're told to do something like go and play the game, we will. If you're said, if the mandate was that no, don't, then I don't think the players would have played. So we almost detach ourselves against what our personal opinion is and just do what we are expected to at that stage.
We saw that video of 2007. The captain of the team, as you just mentioned, was the iconic Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who is a hero even in these parts now.
He's a bigger hero, actually.
He's a bigger hero now than...
In Tamil Nadu, he's a bigger hero than most other parts of India. I mean, CSK is such an iconic franchise, and he has been the heart and soul of that franchise for about 18 years now.
You know, do you have mixed feelings, if I may ask, as a cricketer about Dhoni? You all both started your career roughly around the same time. In fact, your international debut even preceded his. Along comes Dhoni and takes over that wicket-keeping slot. And DINESH KARTHIK then has to reinvent himself, partly as an opening batsman, find new ways to play for India. How do you look at Mahendra Singh Dhoni then? As this cricketer who transformed, revolutionized the game? Or someone who was so good that even good players like you had no chance to play in the Indian team?
When MS Dhoni came in, as you said, I had made my debut for India before him. And I had gone on an India A tour with him just before playing for India. Both of us were there in it together. And observing him, I thought, who's this young guy? So he had long hair and he wore a very gold big watch. And he used to do a lot of bowling to me. And I used to think, why is MS Dhoni bowling to me when he's not even practicing keeping? And he was very different from the normal cricketer that I have played against. Very soft-spoken, isn't extroverted by any chance, a big introvert. So even in that team, we had a lot of players, you know, Sairaj Batuli was our captain, Ramesh Paul, a lot of players were there. He hardly communicated with anybody. His roommate was Akash Chopra, spent a lot of time in the room, in the ground. He'll come, he'll do what is asked of him, which is a warm-up, he'll bat for a bit if required, but he enjoyed bowling. And that was his personality. So I looked at him and said, okay, here is another cricketer, we'll see what he does. And I left to play for India, and then he got his opportunity. So he went to Kenya and played an India A tournament, and he was the man of the series. But there is a difference. There are certain people who will play and win man of the series, which is fine, which is the way you play. But there are some people who will make you sit up and be like, wow, there is something special about this guy. And I haven't seen that side of Dhoni. So when he played for India, I hadn't seen him play much. Because he plays for BR, I play for Tamil Nadu, we don't play against each other. That A series in Kenya, everybody spoke about one person because he brought a novelty factor to it. The power which he hit a ball, people had said they had not seen many in the past. They were comparing, you know, people with grateful like Gary Sobers used to hit those big sixes. But this MS Dhoni has such a different technique, but he hitting a ball as strong as anyone people had ever seen. So that was the word doing the rounds. And India at that stage were keeping with Rahul Dravid. Now Rahul Dravid at the stage where, boss, just leave me. I want to do some batting. I'm happy doing it. My body is going through a hard time trying to be a wicketkeeper. So they were searching for a wicketkeeper. I filled in that role for a very small period, like in a movie I did a guest role. But the main role was slotted for MS Dhoni. He came in and he took India at first, completely swept them away off their feet, and soon enough, international cricket as well, because they hadn't seen a personality like that. Long flowing hair, always had a smile, had witty things to say, wasn't in your face, very respectful human being. But most importantly, I think he brought a sense of calm in chasing. I think Michael Bevan had done it for a period of time, but MS Dhoni did it in a very different way, something that was very eye-catchy. Used to hit those sixes at the end of the game. And I remember at that point when he just walked into international cricket, after about the first 1 or 2 years, bowlers used to speak about how much pressure was there bowling to Dhoni compared to other players. So he had done something which nobody else had. And so when somebody like that comes along and is ahead of you in the queue, you need to immediately look inward and say, what do I need to do to bring out the best version of myself? So I became a bit like a chameleon. If there was an opening slot available, I'll go back to Tamil Nadu, ask them, sir, can I go get runs opening, find a place in the team as an opener. If there's a middle order slot available, I'll say, can I just bat middle order? And Tamil Nadu was very accommodating because we had a good set of players and they were accommodative enough to say, okay, you bat middle order. I used to find ways to get into the Indian team, but my challenge was to hold on to that place. I put so much pressure on myself to just hold on to that place that at times I didn't do justice to what was needed. Let's put it that way. But the one thing that I learned through that journey is, you need to adapt to what is being thrown at you, but most importantly, you need to be determined and resilient. And I think that is what that journey taught me the most, because I constantly kept doing things that were very challenging for other people, because people were not comfortable batting at 6 and 7. If you understand the role that I took in the last 5 years of my career, I used to bat 6 to 8 balls on an average. Now you ask any batter to make an impact in 6 to 8 balls is next to impossible. Because what is the impact that you can make? But I stood by it. I worked on my game. I'm not a Pollard or an MS Dhoni to have brute power. So I needed to use my cricketing nous and the fact that I had certain skills with my hands, and I use it to the best of that and then create an impact. So I did things which were novel in my own way, but I realized that became my greatest challenge, my greatest, attribute, so to say, was that I was very determined and resilient to be the best. So that always kept challenging me, kept pushing me in other directions. So to answer your question, MS Dhoni, taught me a lot of things in very different ways.
So Dhoni, once in a generation cricketer, irreplaceable. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
If you had to choose an All India team of your times, Dhoni would slot in straight away.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, just now I put an all-time T20 11 and he is my captain at number 7. So, MS Dhoni is a special player. Make no mistake about that.
Okay, special player. I want to turn from there to my second image, which is of
was that the lead into that?
Yeah, which is another special player, because you just mentioned that match, again, India versus Pakistan at Melbourne. And another very special, once in a generation, some would say, cricketer. You were, I think, the next batsman in when this shot is played. But just take a look at this shot, because it is quite a remarkable cricketing shot to play in a big pressure game. Take a look. So that video is of what many, Dinesh, call the shot of the century. Hitting Haris Rauf at Melbourne, one of the largest grounds in the world, over his head when we needed 28 or 29 of just a couple of overs. Is Kohli also, like Dhoni, a cricketer in a league of his own? You watched him very carefully. What makes him so special?
Virat Kohli. I think he is the modern day hero that every young boy and girl should watch, because what he does off the field is what makes him so special. Today's challenge as a parent, and you keep speaking to a lot of parents, and I'm a parent today as well, is the fact that there are so many distractions. Social media being a massive one. The fact that people don't go out to play. I'm sure when I was growing up, we used to go out a lot and play in society, in our buildings and all of that. That's a big challenge these days. Virat Kohli is one such player who is able to manage all the distractions in life quite nicely. Even today, he's just playing the one format, but I know that he is training, he is keeping his body fit, and he's giving himself the best chance of success from wherever he is. Now, very different personalities for a start. So let's not speak so much about MS Dhoni because we are speaking about Virat Kohli, the cricketer. He was this typical Delhi, hot-headed young boy who absolutely fascinated the young person from India. He was what youngsters crave to be, have that aggression, have that in-your-face kind of attitude, but back it up with skill. It wasn't just all bravado, he backed it up with performances. For a long period of time, which is about 4 to 5 years, across formats, I don't think anybody has shown that kind of consistency in winning games. Now, there are a lot of people over a period who have won games, but Kohli had this amazing ability. The bigger the game, he brought himself to the party a lot more. And I've been with him a lot. So there was this game against SRH, RCB versus SRH in 2015. It was a must-win game. David Warner was their captain and Virat was RCB's captain. And I remember walking into this team meeting and we had this batting meeting. You know, they had Dale Steyn, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, and we used to obviously look at bowlers and say, okay, this is what he's looking to do. How are we going to take him down? So everybody spoke about certain bowlers and then they said, this is Dale Steyn, you know, these are the areas that he could bowl. His first thing was, don't worry, I'll take him down. So his confidence, at least that's how he almost drove himself to success, is he wanted to take down the best bowler in the opponent. That's what he thrived on. And that I really enjoyed watching because that game he really took Dale Steyn down. It became a 5-over match, by the way. It rained, they got a certain score. In 5 overs, we needed to get 70. But who was it who took down Dale Steyn with the new ball in a 5-over game when the pitch was damp? And actually it was seaming. He opened with Chris Gill. It was Virat Kohli. That game, I was like, wow. Now this is a skill that not many people can have. You can just say it in a closed room saying, I'll take that bowler down. But to go out there when there are 40,000 people looking at you and believing that you're the guy, to do it is a skill. And I think Virat Kohli was a master at that.
He really was. In that sense, should he be still playing for India in all formats? You're saying he's fit as ever. Should Virat Kohli make a comeback and say, okay, I'm coming out of retirement of test match, I'm going to play for India? Would you like Virat Kohli to come back and play? Do you think he retired too early?
I think all of us enjoy watching Virat Kohli play. There's no doubt about it.
Would you want him to come back out of retirement? Would you have not wanted him to retire at the time he did?
No, I just want him to be happy. I've met him a few times in UK and he seems to be in a very happy place. And if that is what is going to give him happiness, so be it. I think it's important that we need to respect and honor what his mind is doing. I think his body could still be ready, and it is ready. I can tell you that. But I don't think his mind is obviously where it was a few years ago. So when he is able to understand and see that that is what his body and his mind is telling him to do, so more so the mind, I think we need to respect that. Would I like Virat Kohli to play? Why not? I mean, I genuinely still, when I switched on the TV to watch in Australia, every inning I used to think he's going to get runs. There were a couple of innings where I thought, okay, maybe he's not batting as well as you would like. But most of the innings I thought, oh, okay. But when he gets out, you're like, okay, so be it. So I think he pushed himself to a point where he gave it everything. And maybe he felt mentally that he was tired. He needed a break. And the fact is that this young team, Indian team, which went to England now, I think would be very proud of the way they played.
I'm going to come to the young Indian team. You were in the commentary box. That's your new avatar. And great to have someone now with all the best commentators in the world. I want to play that match. It was a cover story of India Today magazine as well. Take a look at that moment where this young Indian team took on the English at the Oval.
What time है? Clean ball! Shreyas, you beauty! क्या performance दे डाली! आजादी के हवन कुंड में अग्नि चेतन कर डाली! भारत की उड़ान देखो, जाए हमारी उड़ान ऐसी है, ये चमन सारा खिल जाए हमारी महक ऐसी है, वंदे मातरम, जय हिंद, सीरीज 2-2 से बराबर और इससे बेहतर रिजल्ट क्या हो सकता है?
So we are seeing this new age Indian team, Mohammad Siraj, who again seems to have the heart of a lion from Hyderabad, and Shubman Gill, who many believe is the new Virat Kohli. I don't know whether he'd like to be called that, but he is the next generation potential Indian great. Would you agree that this Indian team, a Shubman Gill, is the next Indian batting great? A Siraj is showing the spirit of this new India?
I have a pet peeve against calling the next great. I feel it's a very easily thrown about term, and I make a conscious effort in my broadcasting career also to keep that term to a select few. I think great, legend, GOAT as they call it, I keep it for a select few. I think just throwing it about to everyone is unfair. Can Shubman Gill go on to become that? For sure. I think
is he going to, because 740 odd runs in your first series as captain, you're just 23, is quite remarkable. Do you believe he is potentially the next Indian great batsman who could possibly even outstrip what the previous generation has done?
Shubman Gill is the next big thing without a doubt in terms of whatever you've just said. There is no denying that. But the way this sport is unfolding, Test cricket is obviously the toughest challenge for any sportsman, but the quantity of how much that's going to be consumed could be the challenge for him. He might love Test cricket, but where is Test cricket today compared to where it will be in 10 years' time is going to be a huge question mark. I don't think it's about Shubman Gill. I think it's about the cricketing ecosystem. People enjoy shorter formats. Their attention span is a lot lesser, so they have time to spend when it comes to shorter bursts. Where Test cricket will be is the biggest challenge. Shubman Gill has everything to become a great. I mean, there is no doubt. And what this Indian team showed, at least in England, as you see, was on a very interesting series. And they rated the best ever series after the 2005 Ashes, which says a lot about how good the series was, how well it was watched, and the fact that a young Indian team came there, stood up against a strong English team, which uses the term baseball, and said, we'll do it our way. So it was great to watch, good fun, and Shubman Gill did a fantastic job as a leader.
What was that moment when Siraj got that wicket? I presume you were in and around the comm box.
Yes.
Do you get overexcited at times like this, or do you try and stay calm?
That's the challenge in broadcasting, sir. See, I'm an Indian. I want India to win. But when you're broadcasting, especially, doing a world feed, the key is to try and be neutral, because the viewer is not just India. There are people from all over the world. So you want to call the play as you see it, as neutrally as possible. Who do I want to win? Without a doubt, India. There is no doubting that. So internally, as much as I'm bubbling and want to say everything that India is doing right, as a broadcaster, the challenge is to make sure you're stating the play which is interesting for others to watch as is. You don't want to be pro-India just because you're an Indian. I think that's something that I'm very keen. I try and keep it as true to the game as possible. That is the challenge. When this Siraj moment happened, I remember I was on the ground because I've been told to go and speak to a few players, and he's the first player I spoke to. And being there in that moment, I was standing behind Sai Sudarshan at that stage, who was at deep mid-wicket. It was lovely to see that young team, because I'm of the belief that Test cricket is the toughest format and needs to be respected and enjoyed the most. But sadly, that's not the case, as you would know. But that series, the way Indian team played, there was so many things that suggested that, wow, these guys really want to play Test cricket. They had come at the back of a tough IPL, but the way they played in that series, phenomenal.
We mentioned MS Dhoni as a once-in-a-generation cricketer. My current favorite cricketer in this team is someone I think is also once-in-a-generation, Rishabh Pant. Oh. Every time Rishabh Pant comes out to bat, I leave whatever else I'm doing, including work, and watch him bat. There was this news show. I was anchoring the news, and I had my iPad watching Rishabh Pant bat. There is something about him which is just incredible. Is that, again, this new generation which is determined to do things that you think are unachievable? Going out to bat with a broken toe, for example, in England, is not easy.
He's a special talent in Test cricket. He's actually become the fan favorite because of the way he plays it. He brings a certain flavor which has not been seen before. The kind of shots that he plays has actually completely enamored the Test cricket watching crowd, because nobody has played it that way. We have seen Sehwag, Gilchrist, all of those guys over the years. He's another variation to that, but with more attractive shots, you know, the falling down sweep, the stepping out and going over mid-off and mid-on to fast bowlers. These shots have not been played that consistently. But the fact is that when Rishabh Pant comes to play in Test cricket is so much more watchable because you almost feel like something is going to happen. I don't know what it is. And that is such a thrilling place to be as a viewer because with the way the world is changing, you know, AI and everything coming in, the one thing that will never ever change is the value for live sport. And I think he adds a certain flavor to it, which makes it so watchable.
I agree. And he's come back from a terrifying car injury to perform for India. I want to turn, we've spoken about a lot of other cricketers. Briefly about my friend DINESH KARTHIK, played for India more than 150 times across formats. But there is one moment that defines your career. So I'm going to turn to the DINESH KARTHIK moment now. I want you to take a look. 6 of the last ball to defeat Bangladesh and enable India to win the Nidahas Trophy. 19 in an over, I think, of Rubel Hussain. Your eyes are moistening a bit. You're getting a little bit emotional, possibly. Was that your best moment as in the India jersey, or was it when the team won more than the individual?
A couple of moments. One is the 2007 T20 World Cup, which you showed. That was a big moment in my life. I've never been part of a World Cup winning squad, so that was one. And this would be right up there on a personal front and from the team because I was in and out of the T20 team and this one almost helped me get in to that Indian team. And it was a year-ending tournament in the sense that soon after this there was IPL. So it was the last match of the tournament. And obviously the odds were against us in the sense that we were a very young team. There was no experience there whatsoever. And the other teams were very, very strong. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka all came in with their best team. So it was a challenging tournament. But the fact that I was able to finish it, I always believe if you put in the work, at some point you'll be known for something. I think DINESH KARTHIK will be known for this moment.
Okay, good enough. I think he deserves a big round of applause for taking India to a trophy win. I have one more moment. And this is a moment which has made you part of Bengaluru's folklore. And we'll talk about it because we are in Coimbatore, somewhere caught between Chennai on one side and Bengaluru on the other. But this is what happened in May this year. The impossible happened. Take a look at this moment and we'll talk about it. Okay, so this is visuals of Royal Challengers Bengaluru after 18 years of trying, finally becoming the IPL champions. And you were what? Mentor, hanging around, telling the team what to do. How special was this? You're a Chennai boy, but you're now more loved, it seems, in Bengaluru than you are in Chennai. For doing for RCB what you should have been doing for CSK.
This is probably, again, one of those big moments in my life because I've played for RCB for so long, but we never ended up crossing the line. But being RCB's mentor, able to do this with a bunch of boys, which the journey was great, and obviously this result, one of the best moments in my life. But you almost realize when you get to a moment like this, the winning is absolutely brilliant, and it lives with you for 2 minutes. And then you almost get past it. You're like, okay, what's next? But when I look back, that whole process of me saying thank you to playing, getting a call saying, would you be interested in becoming RCB's mentor, taking up the job, but that auction and the way we plan, that is what keeps coming to me so much more. That whole process of picking the team, picking the players, the journey of understanding how do we set up a team, and all of that comes to my mind so much more. And then you add in the likes of Virat Kohli, the way he played, the way some youngsters played. And there were some seminal moments through that journey for us. The way we had 9 player of the matches or something like that, which has not been done before. And there were so many mini challenges. We had not beaten Chennai in Chennai, I don't know in how long, a long, long time. We used to come here and they used to tell us, please go back. That is the kind of cricket RCB had played. Mumbai, we hadn't won a game in Mumbai for so long. If I'm right, almost 10 years. The last time RCB had won was the last time I was part of that team in 2015 when AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli had done well. So many mini challenges. So in the first 3 games, we played Karnataka, we played KKR, we played CSK, and we played MI. In the first 4 games, we have played 3 games away from Bangalore, where our away record is so ordinary. In KKR, in Kolkata, away record is ordinary, and in the other 2 teams, venues as well. So those micro challenges or those mini challenges that we faced and the way we prepared for it, all of that gives me satisfaction being this side of the fence, which is a coach.
Can I ask you though, that it all didn't end as well as it should have because of the stampede that took place in Bengaluru. As players, when you look back at it, should it have been done differently? The fact that there seemed to be this over-enthusiasm on the part of the fans, on the part of the organizers, on the part of the franchise. You go and hold a parade and eventually it ends in a stampede. Did that affect you all as players when you heard about it?
So we were in Bangalore, and you got to understand that we were told to go to an event, we went, and then when we got news, we were sent back. I don't think we even understood what had happened. It was beyond us. You got to understand, we are just sportsmen, we are playing a sport, and something like this happens, you just don't know how to react. And that was my first instinct, like, people losing lives. Could it change? I really wish it could, because it completely changed the mood. Even now, speaking about it, when you showed me the pictures, I almost wanted to say, sir, it's great to see, but, let's move on. Because the aftertaste that it left, there's been absolute radio silence from us players. And it was, as you would know, RCB is such a well-supported franchise, and it completely finished whatever our celebrations could have been. So it is arguably one of the saddest things that I have been, I feel even wrong to say I've been part of, because I cannot even empathize what those parents and the families must go through. But all I can say is, I just hope that in some way that we can, repay them in whatever way possible. And these are events that's happened, in some football teams as well, in different ways. And it's very hard to digest and accept, honestly, to have known that you were there and thereabouts and things like this happen. It's very unfair, and all I can say is,
But let me just shift the mood from there to what the IPL has done. It comes every year. It's 2 months where we all celebrate. We all have our loyalties to franchises. What has it done to players? Are young Indian players sometimes more interested in getting multi-crore IPL contracts than even playing for India? Is that one of the big shifts, and is that worrying for you? That a youngster comes at 19, gets a 10 crore contract. He doesn't probably then think of an India cap because he's happy with the 10 crores he's getting. Is that a worry going into the future?
I think the bigger worry for people who get big contracts is how they handle life themselves, because a lot of them have actually not lived up to what their talent could be, have lost themselves in the journey, and sometimes they don't know how to handle that kind of money. And that is going to be a big challenge for them. I really hope people who get big money are taken care of, psychologically as well. Because, when you're a normal middle class person and suddenly you get this huge amount of money, you sometimes don't know how to deal with it. And I really wish some parents or somebody near and there who are able to help whoever that boy or girl is, for that matter. Even WPL, people are earning, girls are earning good money. So that's the biggest challenge. And yes, I think sometimes when you do throw is the wrong word, when you do get picked up for this kind of big money, the one thing that does happen is you start valuing this format a lot more. But in India, we have a lot of emphasis on 4-day cricket, on test cricket, because as you would know, junior cricket, a lot of it is still 4-day, 3-day. So the value for playing that is there. But you do come to a point when you finish that and you're tuning yourself saying, if you're going to ask a young fast bowler, what does he want to play? I won't be surprised if he says, I want to play T20 cricket more. Bowl only 4 overs. It's so much more easier. But if you have to bowl 15 overs a day, come back and bowl 12 overs the next day, it's not that easy. So you can't fault the player. And that's going to be the challenge for the cricket ecosystem. How do you keep test cricket alive? Because that's the truest, purest, and the toughest form. And I really wish that lasts a long time, because that is a great feeder system into T20 as well eventually, because it really sets you up to have a strong player.
Okay, we just have about a few minutes left. We're going to do fun things. Few of Dinesh Karthik's favorite things. Or favorite players. Your all-time favorite player. Do you have an all-time favorite that you look up to and say, this is the player I love to watch? Who is the player you love to watch more than anyone else in the cricket you played and the cricket you watched?
In the cricket, I watched Vivian Richards. In the cricket that I've played, Sachin Tendulkar.
If you had to choose between a Tendulkar and a Kohli, you have only one place in your team for a batsman. Who will you choose?
Many such questions. Many times this question is asked. I'm not going to say I have a clever answer, but my answer has always been red ball, which is Test cricket, Sachin, white ball, Virat Kohli.
Okay. Okay, you've covered all bases with that. Who's the most difficult bowler that you've ever faced?
Lasith Malinga. Yeah, I just didn't know where he was bowling the ball from.
If you had one bowler to pick in your team, Lasith Malinga or Jasprit Bumrah, who would that be?
Jasprit Bumrah. There is no doubt. I'm not going to play every time against Malinga. There are other guys. But Jasprit Bumrah troubles the world across formats.
If you had to come out of retirement and you were given a choice of franchise, CSK or RCB, who would you choose?
Great question. Because I've played for RCB, I'd like to play for CSK once. I really miss not playing for CSK.
Chennai or so you're still a Chennai boy at the end of the day. You can be the mentor for Bangalore, play for years for RCB, but eventually there is the young boy of Chennai still beating in your heart somewhere.
Absolutely, sir. I remember the first auction that took place. It was in 2008. I was in Australia at that time. I was sure that I was going to be picked by CSK. I didn't even have a doubt about it. And the first lot, the second name that came was Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And he went for, I think, one of the highest paid players at that stage. And he went for CSK. And that was when reality hit me that, oh, I won't be playing for CSK. And from then on, I've hoped I could play for CSK. And in all fairness to them, they've tried in various auctions. But as you would do in any other team, why would you have two wicket-keepers of high value when you can choose other skill sets? So I've always not made the cut for CSK, but CSK is a lovely franchise, and I've enjoyed playing against them. I've seen how much they've become as a brand. Brilliant.
N. Srinivasan, if you're watching this show, Dinesh Karthik is available. He doesn't want a fee, just he wants the CSK jersey once. So if India Cements and N. Srinivasan are watching, Chennai boy wants to come and play one last time for Chennai. Your favorite sport outside of cricket?
Tennis. I watch a lot of tennis. I follow a bit of Formula One. I played a bit of badminton, but my favorite to watch tennis.
But in the family, you're squash. You're married to a champion squash player. You want your kids to be squash players or cricketers?
I have two, so one can play each, I feel.
Okay, that's interesting. We have to ask this because we had a debate within our democratic newsroom in the office. Where do you get the better dosas, in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka? It's a serious question which has sparked off a huge debate in our newsroom. Where do you get the better dosas? The audience can also put their hands up. First of all, the audience. Where do you get the better dosas, in Tamil Nadu or in Karnataka or any other state? Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. Okay, Dinesh, what's your pick?
Tamil Nadu. Sir, you got to understand, Tamil Nadu is more crisp. Bangalore is they make it slightly thicker. And in Tamil Nadu, the sambar is more spicy. I like it spicy. So the dosa sambar combination in Chennai is better.
See, this is what happens when you go to Bangalore and spend all your time in a 5-star hotel. If you went to the streets of Bangalore, you might have a different view. But it's a contentious issue. And where's the best place for an idli? Dosa we've given Tamil Nadu. Where do you get the best idlis?
Try Sangeeta, very good, in Chennai.
Okay, so I think at the end, for someone who's such a much traveled man, played in leagues across the world, played for India in different conditions, when it comes to the crunch, Dil hai Chennai. And maybe because we are in Coimbatore and Tamil Nadu, that will strike a particular chord, because Dinesh, you've been someone who's always carried yourself wonderfully well on the cricket field, as you are now in the commentary box, as you are now as a mentor. We've had a wonderful conversation with you to give a sense of what it means to play for India, the IPL grind, and so much more. And one final question, Asia Cup. If Pakistan is not our biggest challenger, who's the biggest challenger you think when it comes to the Asia Cup? Is there any team you see which can measure up to India?
No, I don't think anybody is going to challenge India too much. But if, along with Pakistan, Afghanistan are very worthy competitors.
Okay, so Dil hai Hindustani, Dil hai Chennai. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to Dinesh Karthik.
मैच से जुड़े आपके हर सवाल का हम देंगे जवाब। जानने के लिए हर अपडेट, लाइव एनालिसिस, स्पेशल इंटरव्यूज डाउनलोड कीजिए स्पोर्ट्स तक ऐप।